Welcome to this day in the life of a slightly stressed out philosophy student. I have an essay today, or an essay deadline. I did do most of the essay already. I did all the readings, so I can get this done. Only thing I still have to do is finish it and hand it in. So let me give you an overview of what I already have. I have a title. It's called The Biomedical Bias and the Search for a Cure for Autism. I do not have an intro yet. I always write the intro and the conclusion last. I have a section 1, which talks about the search for a cure for autism and the role of these foundations, these Cure Autism Now foundations. Then I kind of describe the advantages of looking at autism from a purely biomedical perspective, also as kind of a rhetorical tool to ward off stigma. Because inherently in this idea is the thought that the body and what happens to the body as opposed to behavior is somehow morally neutral. It falls into a larger debate of whether whether the DSM framework, so the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual framework by the American Psychiatric Association, whether this is actually a good way to conceptualize mental illness. And of course, this is not an empirical argument because I'm a philosophy student and we make normative arguments. So that is about the right thing to do something and the right thing to frame something. And I have a section 2, which talks about the limitations of the biomedical model for mental illness and then specifically for autism. This section I have to kind of finalize still. I have to make my point very clear and why I think that these, well, what to take away from these criticisms and how does this stand in relation to what was discussed in section 1, like this search for a cure for autism. Should be at the end around 3,000 words, so it's not a very big essay. So I have to really make sure that I keep it narrowed down enough for the point to actually come across, because if you want to do too much, then you risk your points kind of, well, losing your main point somewhere along the way and just wanting to integrate too much literature into your essay or too many arguments that you cannot really support. You just have to be really explicit as to what argument, what's the most important thing you want to say, and say that really clearly. So what I will typically do is I'll write a kind of structure overview of the paper, and I also write down approximately the amount of words that I want to dedicate to this specific section. So you have the intro. I usually take about a 1,000 words for both the intro and the conclusion, which might seem like a lot, but it's actually, you get there faster than you would realize. I have 2 main sections, so section 1 is 1,000 words and section 2 is 1,000 words. So the bibliography does not count for the amount of words, but the footnotes do. So this is always something you have to really keep in mind, like what does count for the what counts for the word count and what doesn't. If I have had a break writing an essay, or it's the next day, somehow sometimes I feel a little bit out of it. I feel a little bit out of the literature or of my story and my main point. So what I do is I kind of read it aloud to myself. And I also tend to highlight like the main sentences as if I were reading a paper of someone else. All right, it's now 2:30. I have been working from approximately 11 o'clock. I did take a break to do some little shopping. Just a couple of bananas, oranges, and some Turkish bread. Also, I got these. I tend to, whenever I work, I'm not sure if you've noticed on the videos, but I tend to like pick at my lip a lot. So I bought this little guy. Look at him. So what I did just now was I have made a PDF of my essay up until now, and then I like to just, these markings I already did, I read them aloud, and I just like to mark it up, just put sentences or little words in between, adapt the order of things a little bit so it reads more clearly. And yeah, I do this for the whole essay. And then at the end, I also write like, oh, some things I might have forgotten, or I still need to think about. I think I'm gonna take a break, just watch something, just go sit on the couch for a little bit of a change of scenery and just watch something. I might have some more coffee. I do feel like having some more coffee. I'm sure people will recognize this whenever I take a break, like a really long, like a longer break from whatever I'm doing, such as writing an essay or reading some articles that are perhaps more difficult or challenging or really require a lot of attention. That whenever I then take a break and start kind of watching something, watching some series or watching some YouTube and just snacking a bit, chilling on the couch with my feet up, then I have a hard time going back to my desk and getting back to the task that I need to do. Yeah, this is just a part of reality. Sometimes you don't feel like finishing something, even though you're very excited about it. Things can be hard work and require a lot of focus, which you don't always have. And if I didn't have a deadline today, like this would be it, the amount of work I have done today. I'm very glad about this. But for this particular day, because I have a deadline, it is not enough. I need to finish it. My plan of action is I'm gonna take a shower because I really need to wash my hair. And then I'm gonna get something to eat. And I'm gonna sit at my desk, eat something. I'm not sure what I'm gonna eat yet, I think. And I'm just gonna finish what I have to finish, and I'm sure it'll be fine. I will just have to do maybe 2 hours more of work. Tomorrow is, I don't have to do any work at all. I just have to spend time with my dad and my best friend. So that's fine. That's, those are nice things to look forward to. Also, the reason that I don't feel that hungry, it's completely my own fault because I ate this entire bar of chocolate in the last 2 days. You might be able to tell I took a shower, I changed into some different clothes. I have on a very scary Game of Thrones t-shirt. It's now 6:20. I am just gonna type out the notes that I made, the changes or corrections that I made to my essay earlier. And then I think I'm gonna make some quick dinner, have some dinner, and then I'm getting ready to write the introduction and conclusion. I am at this point still, I always really doubt about my argument, about the strength of my argument. I don't necessarily doubt my writing abilities because, I mean, I can get sentences out pretty easily. It might sound a little bit like I'm full of myself, but I don't have a hard time writing. It's not the writing part that's difficult or that can be difficult. But sometimes I do really continue to wonder whether my argument really works or whether I have not left anything inexplicit, because that's really bad if you forget a step in your reasoning and you assume that the reader will just be able to fill that in, but they don't because it's their job to point out what's missing. But I think it'll be better once I've written the introduction and the conclusion, because that's like also summarizing it and really getting to the core of the argument. And yeah, that won't work if the argument's not sound. I also at the end might go back, go through the whole text again and then really make perhaps some extra steps explicit, but I have tried to do that already with the edit, so I guess I should just stop overthinking this and just do it. Well, okay. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Hey, that sounds better. You have to be careful with these old things. One shake and it might not work anymore. It is now 7:15. I've made quite a bit of edits. I think it's a lot clearer now. I've eliminated a lot of unnecessary info, which is always important. And anything, you have to really be critical. Anything that doesn't contribute to your main argument has to go. I mean, it might be interesting, but a paper is not about telling interesting things. Well, the paper should be interesting, but your main point should be interesting and not necessarily, it shouldn't be a collection of just interesting facts and arguments by other people. And yeah, that's only relevant insofar as it helps you make your point. So it always helps just to think of kill your darlings. So now I'm actually just under 2,000 words. 1,990 words I've got, which is perfect because then I've got 1,000 words left for the introduction and the conclusion. I'm gonna make some dinner now and then I'm gonna continue and hopefully I'll be done soon. For dinner, I'm making these kimchi ramen noodles and some cauliflower from the freezer. On these very busy days, I cannot bring myself to do any more cooking than this, so yeah, I just made a quick salad on the side, and this meal was actually quite nice. This might seem really strange, but I tend to eat ramen out of a pan because I don't have any soup bowls that are large enough to fit this. And I don't like eating it out of a plate, so I'm just eating it out of the pan. This actually looks like a really nice meal. I mean, ramen, I've got some veggies in there. I've got a salad. I'm actually really looking forward to this. I'm just gonna continue working on my paper because I'm kind of in a flow and I think it's getting more concise and better, and I'm feeling less anxious about not having made my point very well. I think the topics is really big and complex, and it always takes a bit of effort to reduce it to something that's more bite-sized and more suitable for a 3,000 word paper. I think that after dinner I might actually start writing the introduction and conclusion because I feel like I'm procrastinating it a bit. So it's makkelijk. I kind of changed my mind. During dinner I'm just gonna watch some quick YouTube, or because I cannot really eat and type at the same time and it'll be, yeah. If you take any medication, this is a reminder to do it. My watch reminds me. I just wrote my introduction. I am so happy. The conclusion's gonna be much easier. I'm now gonna type this out, see how it reads, and move on to the conclusion. It is now 9 o'clock. I made some decaf coffee to trick my brain into thinking that it's real coffee and get some energy from it. I'm actually not that tired, I'm just done with it. I'm just done with this essay. I really enjoyed writing it, but whenever I come to having to write the conclusion, I always have these big question marks in my head. I don't want to repeat myself. I just want to be concise and clear, and I find the conclusion very hard to write. I find the introduction really easy, but the conclusion I find really hard. So I'm working on my bibliography now, just so I can procrastinate. Oh dear. It is, what time is it even? Oh, it's almost 10 o'clock. So I might actually get this done by 11. Oh. Why do things always take way longer than you think they're gonna take? At least I have the weekend off. I hate deadlines in the weekend. I have had them in the past. Like, they would put a deadline on Sunday evening, and of course you would be working the whole weekend on it because you have the time for it, so why not? But then you end up spending your whole weekend on studying and not being able to do anything fun. Well, studying is fun, don't get me wrong, but it's also work. It's also, it takes a lot of energy, and while it also gives me energy when it's really interesting, just the process of writing a paper is very time-consuming and energy-consuming. I really hope I'm doing well and I did well on this essay. I really want to do well because it's a topic I really like. It's medical ethics. I really want to go into bioethics, so I feel this pressure, and maybe I'm making it hard on myself by feeling this pressure, but I cannot deny that it is there. Take a moment, take a sip of coffee, fool my brain into thinking that it's real coffee. Also, the groceries got delivered, so I put away everything that has to go in the freezer or in the fridge, and I am delegating the rest to my boyfriend, I think, because I have an excuse. To be honest, these clips are a little bit unnerving to watch back because I can see myself getting increasingly worried. I was also quite cold from sitting down behind a computer the whole day. And yeah, I was really doubting myself at this point. Also, something to remember is that it's completely normal to feel anxious towards the end of a deadline. And because you've just run out of energy, you feel fatigued, you feel down, maybe even a little bit insecure or, yeah, melodramatic sometimes. But it's completely normal, and it's something that it's just part of the journey. I have really enjoyed making this video, and I hope to be making many more in the future. If you want to support my channel, just give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll be sure to post many more studying related or philosophy related videos in the future. Thank you so much.